Around the 8th century before our era, a poem took shape along the shores of the Aegean. It was not written, it was sung and passed from mouth to ear. Its name is the Odyssey. 24 books, roughly 12,100 lines, sung in a meter called dactylic hexameter, 6 beats to every line. With the Iliad, it forms the Homeric epics, the 2 foundation stones of Western literature. The Iliad tells of 10 years of war. This one tells of 10 years of getting home. Sing to me of the man, Muse, the man of twists and turns, driven time and again off course. That is how it opens. Not with a war or a god, with a man. The second word of the poem is polytropos, of many turns. It means cunning, many-sided. It also means driven about, turned off course. The whole poem is folded into that one word, and it begins in the 10th year. The story starts in the middle, 24 books in 5 movements, and the hero is absent for the first 4. The camera is on Ithaca. Odysseus has been gone 20 years, and no one knows if he is alive. 108 suitors have moved into his house, eating his herds, pressing his wife to remarry. His son Telemachus has grown up and cannot hold the room. Athena sends the boy to sea, to Pylos, to old Nestor, to Sparta, to Menelaus and Helen. These 4 books have a name, the Telemachy. They exist to show you what he is coming home to. In Book 5, he finally appears. 7 years on Calypso's island. The goddess offers him immortality. He refuses it. The poem gives him a posture, sitting on the shore, looking at the water, weeping. Zeus sends Hermes with an order. He builds a raft. Poseidon breaks it. He washes up on Scheria, is found by the princess Nausicaa, and taken into the palace of the Phaeacians. At the feast, a blind singer performs the fall of Troy, and Odysseus pulls his cloak over his face and weeps. He is listening to a stranger sing him. His host asks who he is. The answer runs 4 books. The most famous part of the Odyssey turns out to be a flashback. 12 ships left Troy. Follow what happens to them. Every stop takes something from him, until there is nothing left to take. First, the lotus eaters. Whoever tastes the fruit forgets the way home. He drags his own men back to the ships and ties them down. Then the Cyclops. Trapped in the cave, watching his men eaten alive. He gets the giant drunk and gives his name as Nobody. Then he drives a burning stake into the single eye. The neighbours hear screaming and call through the rock. "Nobody is killing me," the giant answers. At dawn, they escape under the bellies of the sheep. And then, offshore, he cannot resist shouting his real name. The giant is Poseidon's son. That is where the curse comes from. Aeolus gives him a bag with every contrary wind sealed inside. They are close enough to see the smoke of Ithaca when the crew, certain it is gold, open it. The storm blows them all the way back. Then the Laestrygonians sink 11 of the 12 ships with boulders. Circe turns the crew into pigs. Hermes gives him a herb called moly as an antidote. He masters her. And then he stays a year. Then the underworld. He digs a trench, pours blood, and the dead come up to drink. The prophet Tiresias gives him his route home and tells him how he will die. His mother is there. He did not know she had died. He reaches for her 3 times, and 3 times holds nothing. And Achilles, who traded a long life for undying fame, tells him the trade was not worth it. The sirens. He plugs his crew's ears with wax and has himself lashed to the mast. He wants to hear it and survive it. That is the whole man in one image, Scylla and Charybdis. A six-headed monster on one side, a whirlpool on the other. There is no clean option. He takes the one that costs exactly 6 men and does not warn them. The last taboo. The cattle of the sun. He sleeps, and the starving crew slaughter them. Zeus splits the ship with lightning. Every man drowns. He is the only one left. That is how he arrives at Calypso's island. With nothing. The Phaeacians put him ashore on Ithaca. 20 years, and he is home. He does not walk in. Athena turns him into a beggar in rags. He goes first to the hut of his swineherd Eumaeus, a slave who owns nothing, and gives a stranger the best of it. Then he walks into his own hall, and lets the suitors amuse themselves with him. Outside lies a dog too old to stand. Argos, the hound he raised himself. The dog knows him, moves his tail, and dies. Odysseus turns his face away and says nothing. That night, the old nurse washes the stranger's feet and finds a boar's scar on his leg. She knows him. Penelope has been stalling for years. She said she would remarry when she finished weaving a shroud for her father-in-law. She wove by day and unpicked it by night. 3 years until a maid gave her away. Now she sets a contest. String the great bow and put an arrow through 12 axe heads in a row. One after another, the suitors cannot even bend it. The beggar asks to try. The hall laughs. He strings it the way a musician strings a lyre and puts the arrow straight through. Then he steps onto the threshold, throws off the rags, and empties the quiver at his feet. When the killing is done, she still will not admit that it is him. In front of him, she tells a servant to move their marriage bed out of the bedroom. He loses his temper. Because he built that bed himself, from the trunk of a living olive tree. It is rooted in the ground. Nobody can move it. Only the two of them ever knew. That is when she runs to him. She looked at him, the poem says, the way a drowning man looks at land. On the surface, it is an adventure story. Underneath, 4 Greek words keep returning. Nostos, homecoming. Our word nostalgia is built from it. Literally, the ache of the return. Xenia, guest friendship. Hospitality is Zeus's own law. The Phaeacians treat a stranger well and are rewarded. The suitors eat their host's house and are killed. Even the Cyclops' real crime is that he ate his guests. Kleos, glory. In the Iliad, Achilles trades a long life for a name that lasts. The Odyssey answers him from inside the underworld. It was not worth it. Metis, cunning. The Iliad runs on force. This hero runs on his head. The horse was his idea. Nobody was his idea. Even coming home, he has to arrive disguised as a beggar. And no woman in this poem is scenery. Athena runs the plot. Circe and Calypso decide whether he leaves, and Penelope outthinks him with a bed. She was always the one who could see through him. The poem kept travelling. Virgil wrote the Aeneid against it. Dante put Odysseus in hell and had him die at sea chasing knowledge. Tennyson gave the aging Ulysses a line: to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Joyce compressed the 10-year journey into a single day in Dublin. Derek Walcott used it to write Caribbean Fisherman and won the Nobel. In 2017, Emily Wilson became the first woman to publish an English translation of the Odyssey, and the word itself went into the dictionary. An Odyssey, a long journey full of reversals. A man spends 10 years fighting a war, and 10 more getting back to his own front door. The poem does not make him invincible. He weeps, he lies, he is afraid. He loses every single man he sailed with. He just doesn't stop.